Are we live? Yeah, I think we are. Episode number 40, ladies and gentlemen. Test. Are we live? Let me check. Yeah. All right. Fantastic, man. What's happening, friends? Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to episode number 40, episode number 40 of the new format live day trading stream. I hope you guys are all doing well here. 40 streams already, man. Time is flying. Let's continue the process with the non-farm payrolls today. We have the weekly closure. Again, a fantastic trading week ahead of us here. Beautiful bounce of gold here. Now the question is what's going to happen next. We're talking a lot about the volume profile, the volume analysis, as well as the higher time frame, right? The supply and demand and the low volume notes. I hope you guys are taking notes. That rhymes. So make sure you do. Download the book if you can. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. We have news in around 20 minutes. At this current moment right here, we do have a couple other things to discuss here right now. Let me quickly see what we have with us in the chat before we continue with the streams. And start up with some music. Of course, as always. Let's see what's popping here. John, the man himself, good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Clinton. How are you, man? Ahmed. Planetary Symbol, what's popping, brother? Chris Invest. Hello. Trebor. The NFP, indeed. Reinhardt, AJ Vuren. Yes, doing good, man. Diamond. What's happening, brother? All right, Radek. As always, see you every day. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. A lot of familiar faces. All right, beautiful guys. We have a lot of things to cover. Let's not make you wait any longer here. Let's pump some music and let's get the party started. What do you think? Yes? All right, perfect. Okay. Friday, baby. Yeah. Work. Okay. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing today? Hope you are doing well. Today is Friday. That means that you're almost done. If you're working right now, you have a couple more hours left and then it's ready to rock and roll in the weekends, okay? A little bit more to go here, but before we leave this week and we go and continue next week again, we have a lot of things to discuss. Number one, obviously the NFP, the non-farm payrolls right here. One of the most important news events of the month, right? We already know that here. The expectation is a lot worse than expected. Okay, look at the forecast, 65,000 against the previous being 178. But again, the question is always, is it going to be better or is it going to be worse than the actual forecast itself here? That is something that we're trying to figure out right now. All right. In order to get there, though, we need to go back to gold. We need to go back, look at the dollar. We need to look at oil as well. Here, look at oil, finding that support right now as of we speak. Okay. We have a lot of things to cover. Gold is slowing down and it's getting a little bit weaker right now after, of course, stepping into higher time frame resistance. So is the news coming? And if the news is coming in 50 minutes, how is it going to impact gold? And what are the opportunities after that? Of course, because we have no clue. We could be wicked into our position, but also wicked out of our trade immediately. If the news comes, if the trade comes, we don't know. We have to be very, very patient for that to happen. It's only 15 minutes, so it will not take that long here. It allows us perfectly to do our analysis, our breakdown, our macro to micro approach here, talking about all the major areas of interest, point of interest, higher time frame support and resistance, supply and demand, volume, high volume, low volume, what happened this week, where do we need to really pay attention to gold, okay? We're going to try to answer that question right now in this stream. We're going to make sure that you are fully ready and updated for, as well, the end of the week session, okay? That means that we are ready to rock and roll already for next week and see what the potential scenarios are. And we'll give you that, of course, at the end of the stream as well. A full summary of the week, but also the expectations for next week as well here, okay? I hope you guys are doing well here. Let me know if you guys are now working. What are you doing right now? Are you working? Are you chilling at home? Okay. What are you doing at the moment here? Let me know in the chat, please. I always love to talk with you guys, see what you guys are up to while we're waiting for the NFP, okay? While you're answering that question, in the meantime, let me then go to the higher time frame on gold here and actually show you something very important right now. Very important, okay? And that is the following, that if you looked at yesterday's stream, we actually marked out a level, a very important level actually, remember? And that was that low volume node. Remember that? I hope you guys remember that, because actually what we did, we tapped into that. Okay, look at gold here. It's going to use the gold spot chart right now, Xau Usd. Let's take the high, the volume profile from the high to the low, and let's mark out this high, and let's mark out this low, okay? And let's see where the low volume node is located, okay? Where the low volume nodes are located. And look at that. Look at that. Look at that major gap that we have been seeing right there. Okay, let me actually show you what I mean with that major gap. If you look here at the volume profile, there are a couple of gaps, all right? A couple of gaps that we are seeing right now in the volume traded from the top of the swing to the bottom of the swing high to the swing low. Okay, we haven't broken the swing high. We're still operating in that previous swing. We're actually pulling back right now. And you can see that we have a gap there, okay? And this is what we call a gap of what? Major resistance. We call it a low volume node. Inefficiency in the market, okay? We're looking at these levels right here, right now. We can actually fine tune this as well very well. And if you look at that small gap right there, let's actually do this right there. We talked about this level yesterday as our target when we went long, took a quick long trade with the target of this setup right there, okay? And eventually price tapped into that, and guess what it did from that area? Let's guess what it did from that area. Look at that. Ooh, what a rejection was that. Wow, what a rejection. Okay, look at that, look at that. Look at that major squeeze and that major sell-off at that given moment right there at that resistance, okay? At the same time though, we are also operating in what we call a 12-hour supply zone, a drop, a rally, a base, and a drop. So we also have a supply zone as well right there, okay? But that low volume node is a real thing, all right? It's a real thing, all right? I highly recommend you to mark out these low volume nodes, these high volume nodes, specifically low volume nodes in, for example, a swing or the previous week or even the previous day. If you're more or less a scalper and you're looking for setups here, look at what happened in this low. Let's mark that out right here. Let's see what happened there, okay? Look at that. We mark out that gap right there, understanding volume, okay? And look at what happened. Ooh, Support, support, support. Ooh, we broke down. Okay. Resistance, resistance. Ooh, we broke above it. Support. And we came back up. Wow. Major level, very important right here to pay attention to these low volume nodes. We are now actually getting rejected from resistance. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take that information right there, okay? And I'm going to then look at the order flow right there. And this is actually what happened when we tapped into that resistance right there. So we had, of course, this blue. This is that low volume node, or the gray. That's the low volume node. And guess what happened there? A lot of sellers stepped into the market with high volume right there. 35,000 contracts traded in a 4-hour candle. And if we then mark out right there, okay, that overall zone where sellers took control, where buyers got absolutely screwed and trapped really aggressively, then guess what happened after that? That turned into what? That turned into what we call resistance right there. Look at that. That turned into resistance. And we have not been able to trade above that yet right off now, okay? This is what we're seeing right now. We are in higher time frame resistance. There is no way of denying that at this current moment, okay? A low volume node, sellers stepping in, trapping traders, actually showing us a negative delta. That means that there is a divergence. Higher highs on price and lower lows. Sellers getting aggressively entering the market right there. That was a major short setup, and then boom. We talked about it yesterday on the stream. If you guys don't believe me right here, let's talk about it one more time, because this is something that we did. We took a long and we wanted to get short actually at that level once we got there. And this is why we set right there. Major resistance, strong low volume node, intraday swing, potential sells right there. That was yesterday, okay, before we actually got to that point right there. You could see what actually happened after that rejection right there, right? Major sell-off, boom, rejection. Now, at the same time, if you go to the 5-minute time frame right here, okay, you can actually see it right there. You have the range. We have a little bit of a consolidation period before we actually had that manipulation, and then we had that expansion. Do you guys know what it's called? Let me know in the chat. OGs in the chat know exactly how this pattern is called and how it is actually formulated. It's very famous. It's very famous. Very known pattern that you can see all the time. It's a reversal pattern, you could almost call it. Okay, very important. AMD, CMD, UME, exactly that is the case. The trading format is where you can find that information on page number 47. You can download it for free right here by clicking on ebook. And click on that link, sign up your email, and you have all the information around this right there, okay? You can find it right there. It's a full book explaining exactly the concepts around the volume profile, especially, and why it is so extremely important to understand volume in a market where it's all based around volume, executed orders. So if we use the volume profile, also of that range right there, and we only take the consolidation, okay? Then we have a couple levels within that right there. Let's see if it loads properly. Let me see if it actually is working right now. Can we make it work, please? Can we make it work, please? There we go. Okay, there we go. Right, and if you then look at the key levels right here within that, we have a couple levels that we talk about all the time when we use the volume profile, right? And we utilize the CME pattern as a point of interest for trades, for shorts, whatever the case may be, right? We look at the following concept right here. We go to volume analysis right here. We go to page number 47, the fixed profiles. You can actually see it right there, right? The consolidation, manipulation, expansion. We use the volume profile. We download that for. We draw that over the key levels right there. So we have our levels and we have the point of control. But we also have what we call the value area low. The value area price is always looking for fair value. And when it leaves fair value, you can take trades. So look at that. We have our levels, and that was the top right here. Do you see that? Rejection, rejection. That is a short. That is a short. And if you compare that with the dollar and the valuation against the dollar, we were what? Overvalued against the dollar. That is a short setup right there. Beautiful example of macro to micro, volume analysis, and then order flow confirmations for short setups right there, okay? That is a confirmation trade you could have also taken right there. I hope that makes sense, but this is how it works in real time. And it's a really great way of trading because it gives you a lot of confluences for nice setups in the marketplace, okay? As of now, we are ranging, we are losing momentum right now. So let's take this information as well to oil. okay? Because oil is super important to understand as well, as much as the dollar is as well here to understand what gold might be doing later on here. So what I like to do as well for oil in this case is I like to look at all the weekly data, and I go from the left to the right. This is the Monday right here. This is the Monday. This is the Tuesday. This is the Wednesday. And this is the Thursday. And now we are in what? Friday, right? This is the overall week. We have a full weekly amount of data right now that we can use. And this is what we call the weekly profile at the moment. So we mark out the weekly profile from the left to the right. And guess where we are right now? You guys get it. Low volume notes, right? We talked about this. Look at that rejection right there. We marked that out. That's a clear gap. And look at where we are holding that support on oil right now at this current moment. Okay? It's very important to understand that oil is also in support. It has been kind of trending downwards throughout the day here. But now we have news, okay? Now we have news. Now we need to pay really close attention to what the market will be doing. Because if oil starts to push up, okay, and we do something like this, guess what's gonna happen on gold? It's not gonna be looking good for gold right there, okay? So we don't know exactly what's gonna happen with gold right now because we have news, we have the NFP, and you guys know it already. You can't control news outcomes. You can't control the first initial reaction, the responses and stuff. But you can clearly see that gold is in a higher time frame resistance here. It was very obvious that gold was long biased. Yesterday was still the trade that we could have taken. That was the final trade. Now we are major resistance. Now we have to be patient. Now we have to kind of wait to see what will happen here, to see if the shorts are still reliable or if everything changes because of you know, the news or whatever, you know, the case may be right there. Okay, keep in mind that's a major block of resistance right there. Sellers are definitely in control here, so do take that in consideration on the higher time frame. Even if we tap into that, there is still a lot of resistance that we have to break through right now on gold in order to be quote-unquote bullish. So also think from a risk to reward perspective, if it makes sense for you to take long setups right now, knowing that we are, you know, in that higher time frame resistance at this current moment. Okay, overall, very interesting setups here. Overall, I love it when gold is showing cleaner price action as it did this whole week here. A lot of great examples, great trades, very textbook setups, high probability. Now the question is, are we going to follow through with that? Are we going to break above it? Or is this the short-term pullback or the reversal? So let's see what happens here. Let's wait for the news right now. Let's observe what gold will be doing at this current moment. Okay, and then build around that. I think we can do and look for the right confirmations. Hopefully, we'll give the right setups here. Keep in mind, on a Friday and on the NFP day, we're only looking for the highest quality setups. That's it. You know, it's a Friday. We have the end of the week, the weekly closure and major news. And we noticed that a lot of geopolitical tensions or news comes out as well on a Friday. Have you noticed this? It's always on a Friday for some reason. They always do it on a Friday because on a Friday, they can say, you know what? The market is going to close anyways, so we're going to inject the market a little bit with some, information that might not be 100% reliable, but we're going to do it anyways. Speculation, a lot of speculation into the weekend, and then in the weekend, we know if it's actually real or not. But then the markets are closed, so no one can do anything around that. All right. Anyways, let's see what happens. Really looking forward to it here right now. This is a major low volume node. Sell zone. Obviously, that was a major sell zone right there on gold here. Okay. Now it's up to the rest. Where can we look for right now? What is the confirmation, the conclusion here? Keep in mind, before I talk about the news right now, that we are also seeing right now at this moment that we have Mr. Marco Rubio speaking as well. Marco Rubio says Iran must never get nuclear weapons in briefing to the media at this current moment. All right. That's what we saw, at least. At least this is what I saw on Top Step right there. You see that? U.S. Secretary of State Rubio speaks as well. Yeah, to take that in consideration. Okay. Anyways, guys, the news is in a second here. Let's see what happens, and let's see how the dollar, most importantly, responds to that data. And then we'll go and look at what gold does after as well here. But yeah, we are very, very close right now for that news. Real says market manipulation is ridiculous now. Yes, it is. But there are still good opportunities. If you're patient for the right setups. There's some good opportunities right there. Okay. Zari says, whatever happens, don't trade today. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. In the meantime, guys, if you guys could smash up that like button, it would be highly appreciated. All right. We're going to come here from a Monday to a Friday. I'm really enjoying the stream so far. This is already episode number 40. Right? Time flies, man. Time flies. Time flies. For real. Okay. All right. Okay. There we go. Come on, baby. What's popping? All right, 115. That's better for the dollar, right? So 115, better than the expectation, at least right now. On the dollar, how does the dollar react? Doesn't really care right now at the moment. Okay. Doesn't really care. Doesn't really care. Yeah, for now. Ooh, look at the drop. Look at the drop. Yeah, there we go. We have some news, baby, in action. Gold is reacting to that news. Let's see what happens on the 15-minute time frame. Let's go to the 50-minute first here. Let's see what actually is happening right now from an order flow standpoint. Let's see what the dollar is doing. Let's park the dollar right there on this side. Okay. And then gold on the other side right there. That was our major selling zone from yesterday. And now we are... Oh, what happened? Now we are here. Okay, dollar is kind of neutral, indecisive. We do see some volume coming in. It's good to see some moves here. My name is Jeremy. Says thanks, Lorenzo, for the teaching during your streams. Amazing work there. I improved my trading thanks to the volume knowledge. Read the book. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, bro. Okay. Yeah, nothing too wild, right? To be honest, nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. I mean, we're so used to like the news now, the geopolitical news now, that like the NFP, which was one of the largest news events of the month, the CPI, the NFP, and the FOMC are kind of child play right now. It's literally child play in comparison to the news right now when it comes down to what? Iran. You name it. We're now talking about a new virus. Have you heard about that one? Have you heard about that one? Yeah, man. We're living in interesting times. I can assure you that. We are living in interesting times. Okay? Okay. Now, oil is reacting neutral as well here. We're still above that low volume node. Do take that in consideration here. Yes, we got rejected at a low volume node beforehand as well. Here, look at that. Until we broke it. And then we turned it into resistance. And now we are back at that support as well. So oil is at support. Do take that in consideration. And it's still at support. Okay. And the dollar as well. Okay. The dollar is above the point of control, which is the area where the most volume has been traded. Even though right now it's dropping. Okay. What are areas of interest for us? Well, clearly, we have a major resistance zone at the 47, which is a bit higher, actually. Right above the highs right here. That's a major zone. Back into the range. This will be major resistance right there. We do have that actually to take. We have to mark this out right now because it is going to be a major zone that we cannot really neglect right there. It's actually right here. Just going to turn it into a box. Right there. This is going to be a major level. Right there. Resistance area. Gold. Potential selling zone. Once again. It depends what happens, of course, inside of it. But right there. It's actually a bigger zone right there. But yeah. Let's see what happens if we tap into that. Yeah, this was yesterday, of course. Yesterday. Okay. Later on, there is a Trump speech. What time? Ida Ravis, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Welcome. Good to see you. How are you doing? Yeah, it's so interesting that the NFP right now is, well, actually, it's pushing a little bit right now. Okay, it is pushing a little bit here. Okay. We cannot neglect that here. Let's do it one more time here. Let's look at the weekly profile on the dollar as well. So we have this all marked out. We have the open till the close right now, or the current price. At the same time, if you understand this, you can also go, and you want the same as what I have, you can also go to settings. And you go to events, and you turn on here the session breaks. And you get these lines, all right? And that represent each trading day from open to close automatically for you. So you don't have to pinpoint of where it is. And then you can use the volume profile and layer it on top of it, okay? It helps you with understanding the right levels or where to pull it from. Because there's a reason why we use it from the exact weekly open till Friday now, right? The current price. And that gives you levels of interest. Right now, for example, we are at the current weekly point of control. So that's where the most volume has been traded here the whole week, right at that level. And then we have a low volume node sitting right below that, okay? Which is actually right here, a low volume node. And this is a major area of interest too for the dollar, okay? We could find some support there as well on the dollar. So pay attention to this. So if the dollar, let's say, gets there, it bounces here or it gets there, we could see a resistance, support getting formed, and that's an interest level for us to see. Is gold then in our zone, in our premium zone? Right, and is it then worth it to then take a short according to how price is reacting here? Yeah, I'm trying to avoid longing in higher time frame resistance right now. That's the main reason. I mean, it's overall not looking weak, of course, now. But we need to pay attention to the dollar here, and also, of course, to what we just talked about on oil. Okay, same thing on oil. We need to know exactly what the most important areas of support are in oil. And if we know where the most important zones are in oil, yeah, then we can, of course, take in consideration that if oil goes up eventually, that gold will potentially get pushed down as well. So it's very important for us to be aware of oil too, as much as the dollar right now, especially in times like these, okay? It's very important. Oil, low volume node support here, okay? Where as long as we're staying above that, we could still bounce from it. Yeah. Okay, major reaction. Okay, dollar index, what are we going to do today? Are we going to hold the point of control, or are we going to push to our support zone, our low volume node levels, low volume node support here? What do you want? What do you want? Major zone right here, guys. Hope you guys can see it here. If you don't understand this, these are major sellers right there in this candle with a lot of volume. 35,000 contracts in that candle here. And that usually acts as a, you could almost call it a supply zone. Almost call it a supply zone. Okay? Right there. For now, if you look at the dollar right here, right, and you look at the news and you think, hey, but isn't this positive? Isn't this positive for the dollar? right? Specifically talking about the news right now, you would say, oh, that's positive, right? Why is the dollar dropping? Well, it's slightly worse than the previous one. So don't get it confused. Sometimes you have to look at the previous data as well here. It's more than just the expectations, right? Than the forecast. It's also about what happened before and what are we seeing? Are we seeing a trending? Are we trending down? Are we trending up in terms of data? Yeah, there is definitely a lot of relief in terms of the tensions right now, right? But who knows? We might see something coming right now. It's very interesting, actually. We got some news in regards to the interest rates as well, if I'm correct. The US interest rates futures modestly pair odds of Fed rate hike by end of 2026. Okay, let's see if this is actually true, because they say it all the time and then nothing changes. So let's see if this is actually correct. Let's go to the Federal Reserve meeting here, or the Fed Watch. Let's talk about it. Let's go to the Fed Rate Monitor tool here. And no, you know what? Let's go to the Fed Watch. Let's actually confirm this. There we go. What is the likelihood that the Fed will change Federal Reserve interest rates? Okay, to the end of the year. Let's see. December. No, it's still 70.5% here. 79% that will not change. 88%, obviously. 88.8%. The next one, of course, right here. It's 97.1%. So yeah, I don't really see that much of a difference, except for January right now, 65%. Let's see if it's changing. Yeah, I'm not really 100% about that. Not yet. Okay. They throw it out every Friday. They throw out the potential scenario that, but then we look at the Federal Watch tool and there's not much of a difference there in expectations, actually. So it's very interesting that they say that, but yeah. Let's see. Okay. Well, we're back at our level. Initially, the value area low there on gold. Let's see if gold can tap into this zone. That's what I'm actually very curious about. If you can tap into that area right there and find some resistance. Let's have a look at it. Lorenzo, thank you for the trade yesterday. It was a good trade. However, eventually it did went to the exit at that major level. Yes, exactly. Yeah, eventually it got there, right? Eventually it did got there. But hey, if we didn't take profits, by the way, and we didn't have our TP1 and I closed the trade in profit, then I would have been stopped out on break even on the rest of my trade after TP1. And I would have left the session with less money. So I was actually kind of happy. Yeah, it came up indeed to that zone eventually. And then it dropped really hard after that. Of course, look at that major sell-off. But our bias was correct. At least our session bias was correct. Let's see. 1 hour. Yeah, the 1 hour is looking very, very neutral. Look at that. It's just a flat range. You can see it right here as well. Throughout the whole day, by the way. We're in a flat range right now. So what we're trying to see if gold can actually push out of this range and go for the highs. And what I hope to see is a rejection in that high and a sell to the lows. That's what I hope to see today. Okay. Tapping into these major orders. We're not that far away from it. Not that far away from it. Yeah, that's a good big candle. The NFP candle. Actually, still better than expected. Let's be honest. It took some time. It was a bit slow. But it was still a pretty decent expansion overall. Now, oil is relatively flat. Oil is not really doing much. Yeah, today is the NLP day. We have the Friday, the closure, and we have been ranging all day long. So we're going to pay a lot of attention to news right now as well here, market news here, to get a real good sentiment view. What they are trying to throw out. What are they trying to tell us on a Friday in case it comes? And I would not be surprised if it comes, because you never know, especially on a Friday, right? We need to pay extra caution on a Friday, especially on news. Okay. Trump speaks later today. Yeah, I heard about that one. Yeah, that will be interesting. As always. He speaks indeed at what? In like 2 hours, 3 hours from now, right? He's speaking in 3 hours from now. I hope he's not going to talk about that virus or whatever the case may be. I hope it's going to be yeah, whatever, something normal. We have enough things on our plate right now. We don't want to think about something else, another event or whatever that could impact the markets. We just want to focus on what we are familiar with right now. Okay? Will we trade live today? I hope so, man. You see my zone, my area of interest. Let's see what happens in that area of interest. Let's see, man. Let's see. You know, in the end here, it's not about trading, it's about winning. Right? And it's about winning as much as possible. So that has the priority. Lorenzo lockdown incoming. Wow, that would be nuts. That would be happening. Because I was planning to go to Europe in the summer months, right? It's gonna be nice. Gonna probably meet some of you guys there. That's gonna be fun. Look at the dollar holding up at the point of control right now. We are reacting from the point of control, from that red line you see on the right side of your screen. The point of control, it's holding up. It's bouncing. Gold doesn't really care too much yet. Why do you use Axo charts, not the Quantower or deep charts, ATAS? It's so nice. It's so clean, man. It's just so clean. It is clean. It works. It's smooth. The orders are displayed very nicely. It's very quick, small delays. And also, it's not as heavy on my CPU. Okay? It's not as heavy on my computer. And you can run it from your laptop also very, very easily. It's very, 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 very... It loads quick and it's just not as heavy. So that's good. All right. Yeah, dollar is actually still pushing down, so... Nah, okay, the NLP is behind us, right? 20 minutes have passed right now. But that is out of the picture right now. Here, the conclusion is dollar came down. The gold came up. It's still in the range. Oil is pretty much flat. Okay? Yeah, we'll give it a bit more time for sure. We're gonna observe here, of course. Even though we're in a range right now, we're flat. On the lower time, you can actually see that, yeah, a lot of buyers stepped in, of course, here when the news came out. People are trying to sell here already. Why? Because we're in that resistance already in the range, inside of the range. So people are already trying to sell here. You can actually see it right here. The volume is pretty much, the price is pretty much flat in the last 15 minutes. But the delta is coming down, right? We're seeing more sellers entering the market right now than buyers. But price is still holding up. So that means there is still an absorption taking place. So everyone who presses sell right now is getting absorbed by limit buyers. So it's nowhere near bearish now, yet. Sivab says he will be talking about the ceasefire, even though they exchanged fire with Iran in the morning. All right. Are limit buyers considered dark pools? No. These people are what we call passive market participants. We have the aggressors. Okay, we have the aggressors, people who press market buy, market sell, people who hit the bid, hit the ask. And then we have passive market participants. I want to sell gold at 4735, no matter what. I have 5 ounces of gold sitting right on my lap, and I'm going to wait until someone buys it from me for this exact price and nothing else. Nothing else. And someone comes and buys it, market. So one market buy and one sell limit equals one contract. So one market buy and one sell equals one contract. In order to buy, someone has to sell it to you. And if you are in a buy, or if you're in a long and your stops get hit, what do? You actually sell back your ownership. So you sell, which fuels a move to the upside, by the way, as well here. Interesting how it works, right? Love the market dynamics. For now, sellers are trying, but they're failing. Buyers are trying too. They're also relatively failing. So we're kind of getting absorbed on both sides right now, but the delta is more negative right now. So that means that we are getting more and more sellers involved. More people pressing sell here. Minus 70, minus 63, minus 49 right now. While price is relatively flat. So that selling has not really worked yet. So I want to come up a little bit higher. I want to get a little bit to what we call higher time frame resistance areas or zones, which is actually a little bit higher. This is why I marked out that box. That's what I want to see. I want us to get into that zone. If we can get that, it will be amazing. And if you see rejection there, even better. Of course. We'll figure it out once we're there. Hey, good morning. Just wanted to say thank you for coming on here and giving us the opportunity to use the order flow with you. Amazing. Of course, here we are. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Can help you anytime, man. Jay says, question, Lorenzo, giving most of us trading CFD derivatives for gold, isn't it mainly institutional players moving the market? It is, definitely. It is definitely institutional money moving markets. We're the little fish out there, okay? But some people say, oh, retail is extremely unimportant. The way I like to look at it is like it's like an ecosystem, okay? We're the plankton in the ocean, in a big pool of ocean. Like in a big ocean, we're the plankton. We're like the plankton right there. right? Who eats the plankton? Small fish eat plankton. You see that? That's a small fish. And they're eating us. And then we have a bigger fish that eats what? The small fish. Okay. Now what happens if the plankton disappears? Bye-bye. 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 Ecosystem. So we're not going to let ourselves down here. Don't put ourselves down. We are the retail traders. We are a necessity in this market condition. All right? Any market condition. The little fish with leverage and a lot more freedom than most institutional traders. Inception. Okay, now the dollar is still weaker, but it refuses to break the point of control for now. But we cannot tell that the dollar is strong right now. That's for sure. There's no chance. There is no chance the dollar is looking strong here at the moment, right? Even though we're at support. Look at oil. Where's oil? Oil is neutral. Oil is neutral, okay? Oil is neutral. Silver is absolutely going for it. But gold is not following up. Gold is not following up, okay? Gold is not following up with silver right now. Look at silver, by the way. Wow, what a move for silver. What is that? That is a strong move for silver right there. Definitely. But yeah, also silver will reach major resistance right now as well. Okay. Also silver will be there. Johnny says, just signed up for your free book. Amazing. Go through it, read it in the weekends. Specifically go to chapter 1. That's the most important chapter. That's why it's chapter 1. So you understand the volume profile and how to market and why we utilize it. I think you can learn a lot from this. Yeah, this is something that we use all the time on the streams as well. So you also know when we trade live, right? What happens and why we look at levels, etc. And then, yeah, you can also get some emails from me if you want to, where I give free value. Talked about the low volume notes. And actually, this is how we took a trade yesterday. Around the low volume notes. And the stream before that, actually, even. Okay, well, the very low is still getting rejected for now, but that's not an area of interest for me personally. I'm really looking for the 4748. It's pretty much right there. The 478 actually. There we go. If you want to have it perfect, the 48. That's where it starts. And then it goes up to the 72. But yeah, that's none of our business right now. We want to look at what happens in between the 48 and the 55, 56. Yeah, no, anyways, the valuation says we're a little bit overvalued against the dollar. Here we created a nice divergence, by the way. This was a nice bullish divergence right there. This was a nice bearish divergence, by the way. Look at that. Whoop. And this is a nice bearish divergence right there. Look at that. Also, and we saw that drop of around 300 pips. From the very low. And right now we're creating lower lows again. Okay. And higher highs on price. So it's actually a good thing that we're breaking to the upside right now. Because it shows us, again, the same thing as what we've seen before. That is that more sellers entering the market right now than buyers. You see that? Price is now moving very, very clearly up. but more sellers are entering the market. So at some point, we're going to see some exhaustion taking place, I guess. So yeah, this is not where I would like to buy gold right now. Limiting yourself to gold can be bad. You know. I don't fear the man who executes a 10,000 kicks. I fear the man who execute one kick for 10,000 days. It's about mastering that one element, that kick, that low kick. You know what I mean? It's very famous in the Netherlands, the Dutch kickboxing. Very famous. Yeah. So let's just master that one element. Let's master the low kick. What do you think of the daily oil? I think that oil is reaching major support. That's what I think right now. I think oil is a major support right now. Okay, already. I think that the real higher time frame support is, of course, at the 88. Okay. And that the daily zone already, the daily demand zone right here. So yeah, no, oil is definitely in higher time frame support right now. It's back down. It dropped, keep in mind, from the highs to the lows, it dropped around 20%. Okay. We are now back at, you could say, roughly speaking, 15%. It's still a drop of 15% without a correction, without a pullback, or whatever the case may be here. The speculation is now that everyone thinks the market is going to resume back to normal. That's the expectation. Everyone expects now that the war is over. That's the expectation. What do you think could happen when people expect something and things are getting priced in aggressively? I think it's very important to be really careful and to take every support zone right now in oil extremely serious. And this is where we are at the moment, okay? So I think that oil right now is very important. It's going to really prove itself over the next week, I would say. But it seems that oil could even easily bounce still. I don't feel that confident about selling now. I was confident about selling 2 weeks ago. Because we talked about that at the higher time frame resistance, higher time frame supply. It's impressive how how the dollar is still holding up there. Very impressive. Okay. Now, let's see if we can get there. Right now, look at all that selling. It's unbelievable, actually, if you think about it. But there's no follow-through. Lorenzo, why was the news bad for gold when it went up? Actually, it was not necessarily better. If you look at the previous data, and if you look at the overall trend of the NFP in general, it's getting actually much worse. A lot less new jobs have been added to the US economy, pretty much. That's the easiest way to explain it. So yeah, it's the forecast. It was better than the forecast, but worse than the expect than the previous months, pretty much, if that makes sense. So I'm always taking it with a grain of salt. And there are so many more confluences, and there's so much more information to take in right now around gold. All right. Well, let's look a bit back right now. Let's go to the hourly. Let's clean it up a little bit because we are really flat on the hourly right here. We're just in the top of the range right now. The VWAP is just right in the middle. Right. There is in terms of today's session on the VWAP as well, there is no clarity from that perspective because there is no reaction around this. Brother, I was trying to download your book, but they need to sign in. You don't need to sign in anything. You just need to fill in your email, that's it. And then you get an email. Yeah. Yeah, yesterday we took what we call an aggressive entry. That was yesterday. Today is a little bit different. Because the market, we're dealing with a Friday. We have the NFP behind us. And we're no longer, in that aggressive uptrend on gold. We're now a little bit ranging. We actually reversed yesterday quite aggressively. And we're now in the middle, in the pullback. So it's actually a really important turning point for gold here. This will really decide what gold will do over the next coming days ahead of us here. If this drops and breaks down again, that's a very bad sign. If it breaks out, that's really bullish. That's really bullish for gold. Okay? So it's actually very important to know what happens here in general. Mercurian says, let's get ready. Explosion heard in Iran. Yeah, I heard that. Explosions heard in Iran's Strik near Strait of Hormuz. Reasons are unknown. Okay, explosions heard. Okay. The thing is, if I would short this down, I would have to put my stop loss there. It's just too big. It's too big. And I don't see any success yet from sellers. Really. Like, this is not really a success story right now. Look at all that selling. But we are holding up here. You see that? We're just flat. But there's so much more selling than buying in this last 10, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Yeah, this was yesterday. Yesterday was a perfect example right there. That was a beautiful example. And then this trade was also really nice in the London session. I actually took a quick trade with my group today in a private live trading session as well. It was a nice little win. All the confluences aligned. It was not, of course, the perfect session because we were preparing for the NFP and the London session was a bit dry, but we still managed to get a nice scalp. So yeah, I think it was overall pretty solid. Pretty solid. I think we opened it right here. And we closed it right there. Very simple, right? Simple setup. Consolidation, expansion, retracement, and then the breakdown right there. And we closed it and then it came back up right there. Yeah. It was the first live session with the 15 people that we were working with. So it was awesome to see that live. You know, there's nothing better than teaching someone a strategy, a system with like high level, hopefully high level presentations, right? Well prepared, everything in depth. And then actually doing it live in lesson 5 and actually executing exactly according to that process and winning. There's nothing better than that. It's a great feeling. Because that pretty much shows that we do what we say we want to do. All right. Well, we're still getting rejected here. Still, it's unbelievable actually. Let's zoom out a little bit right now. Let's go back to the hourly. Because I think this is that zone that we are getting rejected from. Let me actually just make sure that this is a bit cleaner. This is that resistance. We are unable to break that resistance right now. Rody, I am one of the 15 and the sessions are top notch. Love that, man. Rody, thank you for hearing that. I appreciate this, bro. Appreciate that. All right, already getting rejected here. So yeah, forget our bullish buys, right? No bullish buys. Like we said before, we're looking only for shorts. It's too, in my opinion, risky to look for buys. Even though the NFP came out, you saw the reaction of gold bullish. It's definitely not following through right now. But yeah, we're pretty much flat in the range, guys. We need to get out. We need to move out of the range here in order to get into the best entry possible, in my opinion. Otherwise, we might stay in the range right now. Is the question, that's the big question. Is everyone waiting for Trump to speak in 2 hours? Or 3 hours from now, 2.5 hours from now? Dollar is holding the current weekly point of control very well, though. That's good. It never broke it. Do you see how important this level is? If you ask, how do you mark out this level? Then you can actually do this right here, okay? So the first thing you do, you go to the dollar index, capital.com. That allows you to use the volume too. The tick volume, but it's good enough. You go to settings, you go to session breaks, you click on that, you get this. You look at the Monday, right where the market opens up here, all the way to where you are now, and you use this tool to fix your volume profile. You measure it right here to there, and you adjust the settings of it. Okay, so it looks like mine. 128 row size and 70 value area volume. And then you go to style. You can change it to these colors if you want to. It's up to you. Okay, but I just show it for you so you can use it. And then you mark out the point of control, which is the area where the most volume has been traded in the dollar the whole week. And you can see here on a Friday, this becomes support or resistance, depending on where you are. Okay. That is an area. Then we have some low volume nodes below that. That's also support. Inefficiency in the market. It's like an imbalance. Tends to act as support too, right? Which is below the previous daily lows. And then you have the right levels in the marketplace. You look for low volume nodes right here. Low volume nodes. Look at that right there. Low volume nodes. Okay, look at this one. Okay. And there's a low volume node right there. This is a low volume node right there. You have a couple of those. You need to really pay attention to those things. It can help you tremendously with finding areas of support or resistance. Without having to look on it on the chart, you can actually use volume for that. It's much better. It's much more effective. It's much more accurate. It actually absolutely is. Okay? It absolutely is. Why ain't you buying? Because right now sellers are really trying to squeeze it here. I don't really see this as a buy for me personally. Knowing that the dollar is doing what it's doing here. We're in that higher time of resistance. Oil is at support too. It's just chilling. But yeah, it is at support. Can I ask you, why don't you use the heat map or the book map? I don't use the heat map or the book map because it's not necessary. I have the footprint chart. It's much better. You can actually look at the actual candles and the orders and the delta. And we still have the book map kind of here. The limit orders are sitting right there. You see that? Still a large passive marker participant right there holding price up. Look at that blue line that you see there. That's a blue line. That's a passive buyer. Okay. So we're getting still supported by that. Yeah. Yeah, I hope we get there. I hope we can get to our zone really today. Because the last thing I want to do today is chasing the market down. We've done this yesterday. Yesterday was very aggressive. We took a very aggressive entry yesterday. But it made sense to take an aggressive entry, to be honest. Because the momentum was really strong. Right? On gold still. It was like, it was trending up really aggressively. And even when we broke out here, I initially waited for the pullback, but was like, no. You can actually see that we're holding. We might squeeze higher. And that's exactly what we did. So it was a good choice to be more aggressive. Right now, we broke structure. Right? We're looking flat. We're in the range, higher time of resistance. This could be a turning point, right? So I mean, you really have to find either the best entry now for me or just observe. But this is that zone. We know which area it is. All right, look at the dollar again getting rejected again. So yeah, no, buyers are still willing to defend here. We're still above the VWAP too. So yeah. Kent Services says maybe always waiting for Trump talks. Yeah, it could be. It could be. So we're gonna pay attention to this. If it's just gonna range, yeah, there's not much we can do there. But if there isn't a breakout, that's when opportunities come in. That's where opportunities come in. It could be a fake out, and we could enter the fake out or anticipate the fake out, I could better say. That could be nice. Lorenzo, I have a question. You only trade 2 hours per day, like the stream, and that's it? No, we trade upstream. Right now, we're starting to trade with the group I have as well. The 15 people that are onboarded. The 15 guys. Okay. And we had a live session today. So no, I'm still trading right now. Also the Asian session. I live in Bali, right? I live in Bali. So overall, for me, the Asian session is also interesting if there is something nice to trade during the Asian session. And sometimes, to be honest with you, the Asian sessions have been the cleanest. Especially lately. But New York is just our baby, right? We're so used to New York. We've been trading in New York for years. Years, not months, years on the streams. How much taxes do you pay in Bali? 10%, roughly speaking. Okay, 5 minutes. Yeah, that's what I mean. Buyers are still willing to defend here. Sellers are failing right now to push price down here. So I don't see this as the best entry for now, at least. Let's see what happens with the volume. The volume is indeed slowing down a little bit here. So we're not far away from like a impulse soon. Because this tends to happen. Volume goes down slowly. It's kind of like it compresses, right? And then it explodes. So we're not far away from like a larger push. How to join Discord? This one is closed. It's only on board 15 people. We're a small group of people at the end of the month. That's it. I've learned a lot of lessons in terms of the communities, in terms of people, in terms of a lot of things. And we realized that everyone we should be in the community, for example, they need to go to an exact process. It's like going to school again. Like going to a real school and lectures, exams, live sessions, you name it. And then after those 6 weeks, you join the group, right? And then the next group can join. And then after those are done, then they can join the first group. And then you know that every person who's in the group went through the exact same process as you were. So everyone is on the same page. And that's what we call exponential growth. Because you can actually talk and speak the same language without ego. It's very powerful. Trump speaking? I don't think so. I think Trump will speak in around 2 hours. 2.5 hours from now. I think the market, to be honest, is waiting for this, guys. You can see it in the volume. It is waiting for Trump to speak on a Friday morning, New York time. King over there, congratulations to your new edition of LTA Concepts. Solid knowledge and very powerful graphics. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Okay. Now, a lot of selling, no follow through at the moment here. A lot of selling, no follow through. Okay. We are seeing a divergence though. This means when price is flat and when there are more sellers active in the market, right here. Then at some point, you will see an expansion. You will see potential breakdown. It could be. It could be. Right? But it depends because in some cases, it's nothing more than just an absorption of these sellers to push price higher as well. Right? So it's not definition a directional indicator. But it shows that there is a divergence right now. And at the moment, we are in... or still above the VWAP. So you can see it right here. It's still getting pushed and pushed. What I think could happen is that you go up and then we'll get into a major zone of resistance, which is this zone on the 4 hour. And then we can talk shorting, because then I think that we have the right volume, the right amount of volume needed for the larger push or larger squeeze or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we're pretty much flat for now, so. Greetings, sir. Which platform is showing the order flow on the right? That's the Xau charts. I should be an ambassador for them. You know how many people message me on Instagram saying, yo, I just bought the Xau charts. Can you send me the template, the layout that you have? I'm like, sure, here you go. Well, if I would do the calculation, in terms of revenue, okay, you will be mind blown. I'm not gonna throw out any numbers here, but I don't make any money off this, just so you know. I'm not a partner. It's just something that I like to use, okay? That's it. I don't have a link. I don't have a code. India, my Indian G. What's happening, man? Mongolia. Brother, the market is stuck because it's Friday. Well, have you seen the last Friday? Have you seen the Friday before that? That was a different Friday. All right. Today, Friday is Anticipation Friday. It is, what is Trump going to do today? What is he going to say today? It's that type of Friday. Okay. Let's see. Lorenzo, on a separate note, do you invest in AI infrastructure? Since this is all what Trump talks about. No, but have you seen Bitcoin lately? Have you seen Bitcoin lately? I know everyone hates to think about Bitcoin right now. Never mind. Yeah, forget about that one. What about your question? No, I'm joking. No, Bitcoin is actually doing really well. I'm actually very impressed how strong Bitcoin has been pushing up lately. It's starting to show a little bit more strength. Something is happening. Something is boring here. Okay. Something is happening there. Do I have my AI? Well, I have my Claude. All right. Getting my Mac Mini. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Okay. I'm one of those guys. All right. Dollar is dropping. Oil is dropping. We're getting there. We might be getting there. Let's see. The distraction on your right is serious. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Hi Lorenzo, started to follow your streams. Love your aura and confidence. Let me know next time you want to take in students. I think we're gonna have a great time. I will let you know when we open up again at the end of the month. Pay attention to the email, I would say. Pay attention to the streams. I would say just join the live streams right now on a daily basis on the free streams, obviously, which is roughly speaking 10 hours a week. I will be here 10 hours a week. And then the book, of course, you have to read as well, so you understand the volume principles. Yeah, and then the question is, how do we put it all together, right? That's the real question. And that can only be done through lectures, live trading, live execution, interaction in the chats, groups, you name it, with a small group of good people from all over the world, but a small group, very small group. Rejection. Oh. Toto says, hi, Lorenzo from Montreal, Canada. I'm from Dubai. Nice. Brazil, Sri Lanka, Croatia, Cape Town. Yeah, man. I'm gonna go in Europe. I'm gonna go to Europe this summer. I will be in, for sure I will be in the following countries. I will be in, and I will be streaming also throughout, by the way, just so you know. I will be in Italy. I will be in Romania. I will be in Spain. And I will be in the Netherlands. And maybe Greece. Maybe Greece. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Actually, really looking forward to that. Been in Bali for a long time right now. I have been traveling out of the country, of course. You know, I've been to Europe a couple times, but very short. Actually, doing more of a European trip right now is good for my brain. A lot of work, and you know, the beautiful thing about trading is you can do that. You can just do that if you want to. You can do that if you want to. But you know, to be really honest with you, focus is also important. Staying focused and you know, being at one place also made me a better trader, right? It's not like it's for the right reasons. You need that rhythm, you need that structure sometimes as well. Okay, there we go. We're squeezing. Now we're finally moving. Something is boring here. Any news? Besides the New York Stock Exchange open? No? Okay. All right. Tell me, what are we going to do here now? Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, NFP in a nutshell right here. We had the NFP right here. We have now the New York Stock Exchange open. We're finally breaking out the range. So indeed, look at that. What was this question? For the people that asked, this was indeed what we call the absorption right of sellers. So now we are slowly getting to that area of interest. And now I want to see how price really reacts here. Okay, let's see what happens here now. No selling until the right confirmation. That's a deep touch right now. Love it. Hey Lorenzo, greetings from Cape Town. Nice. Amazing, man. The crypto noob, man. How are you, man? Long time ago. I recognize you from 2 years ago on the streams. 2 years ago. All right. Okay, we're in our box. We're in our area zone. We're now getting there. So this is a very important moment, for real. We're getting really overvalued now. The dollar is pushing down. We are getting towards the zone that we talked about right here, which is this area. And I actually want to see the dollar getting there, to be honest. I want to see the dollar getting to that zone. Oil is already there. It's just the dollar right now. Let's see if the dollar can go through it. What a push here for gold. Did you take trade? No, when I take entries, you always see me trading. I'm not that guy on the streams that pretends he's trading, but it's actually not trading. Okay, just so you know. I'm not one of those guys. Okay. Wow, if this rolls over and it dumps, then it could be the best moment. I'm not... somehow I'm holding on to that sentiment. All right, first step. All right, we're in our zone. We are in our zone. Look at that small zone. A lot of buyers stepping in here. Are they willing to push through? A lot of volume coming in now. Now the fact that we have indeed the New York Stock Exchange open here. Order some seafood, bro. You need it after the stream. Why seafood? I have sushi, man. I have sushi right here. I have sushi right there. Okay. All right, 5 minutes. Show me, baby. Show me what can be done here. For now, the dollar is still pushing down. We are still, I would say, we still have some room. The dollar still have some room, to be honest. Look at the NQ. Major. Yeah, the NQ is unstoppable. It has been unstoppable pretty much the whole month and previous month. So yeah, that's true. Major. Okay, we're getting there. Yeah, imagine selling here now, right? That would have been the problem with selling here in that range was very clear. If there is no follow through, you see all that selling, right? For example, on the 5 minute, we saw all that selling here, but there is no follow through, right? That is a sign of strength still, that the sellers are getting absorbed. So we don't want to be selling here. And happily we didn't. Happily we didn't, right? Because it looked very tempting, but it was not worth it. It was not worth it. Even though it might sound crazy, but even in these major expansions right now, I think the best opportunities there are there for sales sometimes. Instead of in that resistance, for example, where you think it's a nice opportunity for sales. Sometimes these expansions are much more interesting. With the right confirmation, of course. A lot of buying right now, but we're acting strong around the point of control here. Yeah, we're right in our zone. We're right in our higher time frame zone. Right here. A lot of volume traded here. So we're trading right into this. Okay, the volume is already slowing down a little bit. This next 5-minute candle actually shows a 50% drop in volume. All right, so we're in our zone now. and we're seeing a drop in volume. We're seeing actually a closure below, potentially below these buyers. So there is more buying than selling in this candle, but we're seeing a bearish candle closure on the 5-minute. Look at that. You see that? So we are reacting now from our zone a little bit here. Let's see where oil is. Oil is already holding that support at the low volume node. Okay, oil is holding there. We talked about oil, right? Being in that major support right there, and it will be very hard for oil to break down. You can see this right here. A low volume node right there, major support right there for oil. Okay, you can see it. It just doesn't want to break it right now. So oil doesn't want to break. That's one thing. Now, what about the dollar? The dollar is holding up. Okay, it's not strong, but look at that. There is definitely still some buying happening here. Okay, so we are reacting from that zone. The 5-minute is what you see now. It's seeing that rejection here. I would say the hourly, the 15-minute is actually going to allow us to see what will happen here. Because what if we fall back into the range? What if we fall back into that area? There we go. Yeah. Yeah, so we have gold on one hand, we have the dollar, of course, on the other hand. Oh, why is it, there we go. Why is it that small? The 48.5 we had, right? And then we had the, there we go. There we go. Yeah, we are reacting from it. Okay, that's a good thing. We want to see that rejection there. Okay, let's see what the next 50-minute does. If this flips, I'm sorry, I missed out. Okay, I'm sorry. If this flips already before, then I apologize. But I have to wait for that closure. Yeah, it's the, don't forget the fixed point of control as well here at the 52. That's where we are reacting from, by the way, as well. But it's the whole zone. It's not just that level, it's the whole box. It's that box right there. Okay. Okay. What a rejection here. I hope it does not flip before, because then I miss out on the setup potentially. Let's see what oil is doing now. Oil is reacting. Yeah, it's just holding up. So nothing changed on oil. All right, there we go. We're reacting. We're reacting from that zone, huh? Of course we do. Yeah. Okay, we're seeing a lot of buyers there at the 50-minute highs. They're failing. Sellers are underneath, but there is still absorption because we didn't close it below the sellers. So buyers are still stepping. It's a real battle, man. Wow, it's a real battle today. So there's a lot of resistance here. You cannot deny the resistance now. We can't deny that resistance. Now look at the euro. The euro also has been fueling to the upside right there. In case you guys are wondering what I'm looking for a large buyer to step in here and failing, push price higher. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's impressive how we do react from our zone. We know that we will be react, but like a reaction is one thing, but actual rejection is another thing. All right, so we have a reaction, but we don't have necessarily the rejection. And that's what we're looking for. We need to find out if this is the rejection eventually or a reaction or a deeper push. But the fact that we would react here is not a surprise, of course. It's more about how we're going to see the rejection we want. The rejection, this resistance level is a weak high because it failed to take out the low. Yeah, that's in like the technical structure. It's like the rhetoric is that, oh, because it didn't take out the lows, it's a weak high. But in my opinion, what lows are we really talking about? Are we talking about these lows? We're talking about these lows. You know what I mean? We're talking about these lows. Right, so what I like to look at personally is something different. I like to look at how much volume was traded there. Right, and if there's a lot of volume traded there, which it was, 35,000 contracts, then I know it was a serious level. It's a serious level to take in consideration here. I just don't see the projection that I want to see yet. So there's no rush here. But it will not be easy for gold to break this. What is this order flow that's called the exit charts, man? Yeah. Yeah. Now, okay, like this is like the thing, if you don't see any... so for example, we're in this right now. We see that sellers are entering here. Price is higher than the sellers, right? So there is an absorption of sellers right now. There are passive buyers in the market. Same time, we are in that resistance. So we're going to compress right now, and the delta will, I think, show in a second what we're up to. But it's not an easy level, that's for sure. It's not an easy level for gold to just break. and to break out of here. Because the dollar is also in the very low of that range right there. And we did see the dollar did create it, what we call, we kind of had the lows, we had that expansion, right? Then we had that pullback. Now we're back at the origin of that move and we're holding support, right? And the dollar is actually creating what we call a bearish, bullish divergence. So this is the dollar measured against the Euro USD. I could put the Euro USD here. And then you can see that we're creating higher highs right there and lower lows on price in that range. So in that consolidation, breakout, retest. And this is why we have that support right now. We could easily push back. Okay? We could easily push back. And we know that the gold is right now in resistance. So if the dollar does break back into the range, it's going to put more pressure on gold. Oil is not really our issue right now. Oil is just chilling at support. It's flat. The dollar could do this though. And yeah, we have to just pay very close attention to see if we can close below that low. Collective says I entered 4727 for a sell, holding for the breakthrough. Okay. 4727. I think you mean on gold, right? 4727. Entered, holding for the breakthrough. Ah, so you entered a bit lower right there, you mean? Give me 1 second. Not sure if you could hear that, but anyways. I'm a Forex trader. Can I watch me? It's the same thing as Forex, right? Pretty much. Just different price, but same structure, I would say. Yeah, so far, we closed above those sellers. The sellers are not in control here yet. The sellers are not in control here. All right. If it breaks down and we close below those, below the four, I would say below the 40, below the 42, we close back below, then I think there's a big chance we're going to see the squeeze down. And then most likely we'll see the dollar breaking out again, holding that support like we are right now and actually pushing back. The question is though, if that's the anticipation, do you want to enter before that move or when that move happens? Yeah, we can already see the rejection here. This is not for short focus on buying. You know what? It might be, you might be actually correct. It looks very strong, but we're in major resistance right now. Okay. I just want to be clear on this. This is major resistance. So if you wanted to buy, we should have bought, let's say here, right? Earlier, before the news. Not here, in my opinion. Oh, wow. Look at that. What came in here? Look at that. Selling. Why do I have a feeling that at the end of this, not at the end of this session, but at the end of this day, gold's gonna make a pullback, and a strong pullback. We've been here before, guys. It is we recognize some patterns here. We really do. Yeah, this just proved. You saw that massive seller coming in and price squeezed up. How interesting is that? Yeah. So large absorption here. Still, buyers are still here. Buyers are here in resistance. So it must be either news related or bro, you're gone, bro. This is a massive bull. It looks bullish. Yeah, it looks very bullish. But I don't see anything that spikes my interest for actual trade long now. But you can see the absorption right there of sellers, right? It's obvious that this is indeed the case right now, even though we're in our resistance, in our high time frame zone. NFP, always crazy markets. You have to be very, very, very careful with the right. You have to be very cautious here. News related, NFP related. Friday, Trump speaking. I hope you can see how important this zone is, though. This area right now. We haven't broken the high since 9:30 on the order flow right here. We haven't broken the highs. Maybe slightly right now, but it's Wayfaring, love your channel, dude. I will visit you at the gym within next year in Bali. Been coming here since 2024. Will you be shorting the Nasdaq? Been DCAing in over the last 2 weeks. Fuck. Aye. You know, which channel you should watch? It's called Traders Reality. Watch this channel about the stock market. It's very good. So you understand all the nuances from a fundamental standpoint around why this is pushing higher right now. It's very interesting. Okay. Well, so far, guys, to be honest, clear absorption. Happy I didn't pull the trigger on shorts here yet. There's no reason to. There's really no reason to. Unless we do break down again. There's a lot of reason to. It's probably oil is coming down right now a little bit, I think. A little bit. Nothing too crazy, actually. The dollar also. The dollar is also holding. So either this is a huge trap. Trying to go for these highs, squeezing. Can you enter? So, some of you guys just want me to enter randomly, right? Like a random trade. Just for the sake of it, right? Like, I don't understand it. You know what I mean? Okay. Yesterday, we took a very aggressive entry. Cannot deny that. Yesterday was very aggressive. So yeah, sometimes we do that. But if we entered right there aggressive, we would have been in a nasty position right now. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think this is the hourly closure too. Keep in mind, it's the hourly candle closure as well here. We have officially broken. The very high now is the next level, is the final level actually. If we break above the very high, it's done. This whole area is invalidated. Okay. We are not there yet though. So we are still in our zone. Might not look like it, but we are. We are still there. Let me just make this a bit smaller. Yeah, look at that. Okay, what do we want to see? We want to see either super aggressive buying but failing, or we want to see sellers being in control, closing with strong selling, and then closing below, in this case the 45 or the 42, which actually allows us to fall back into the range, which makes me believe that this is the manipulation for the breakdown. The dollar is pulling back. You see that? The dollar is squeezing higher. So never say never, really never say never here, because we have been witnessing the dollar already diverging here in that support on the very low in this range, holding support. So we're gaining some momentum against, the dollar is gaining momentum, let's put it this way, against the euro, okay? The dollar is gaining momentum against the euro, and gold and the euro are relatively positively correlated to that. There's a negative correlation with the dollar as well here. If the euro starts showing weakness, it will be better for the dollar and therefore worse for gold. And this is where we are. We're still in resistance. Okay? And late buyers are starting to enter the market now because they feel that they missed out on the move. The NFP move. So there's a lot of FOMO. Okay? The feeling that I'm getting from this session here is that it will take time to develop before we actually move. But when we go, we go. We go hard. That's the feeling I'm getting right now, according to the way price is moving here, the way the dollar is moving as well, by the way. Now, I don't really, to be honest, trust this push it to the upside. I think it's going to invite a lot of late market participants to enter the market. So, yeah. Yeah. As long as we're still above this zone of sellers, of course, there's nothing to do there. But if we start breaking that and we're losing that, yeah, then things get very wild, very interesting quickly. Because that means that pretty much, the sellers, the buyers tried to squeeze in. You see that the buyers are trying to break out, but now suddenly the sellers are coming back in as well. And keep in mind, the hourly candle has also just opened up. Yeah, I really have the feeling that we're setting up for manipulation to the downside. I don't know if I'm correct. Okay, don't take this for certain. I might be wrong. But according to just how the market is behaving right now, I think we're inviting a lot of sellers, buyers to the market. And our zone might be actually holding here. Yeah, we close this next candle in 4 seconds. We're still above it. We're still above it. But you can see the rejection. Look at that. Wow. There we go. Look at the rejection. Wow. We need a final squeeze. It's actually harder to trade than you think, this reversal, with the right confirmation here. But it's definitely interesting. Because it was so obvious that it was buys, right? And now, are you still that convinced right now? Let me know what you think. I don't know what your opinion is here, but yeah, I think we're trying to break here. Wow, look at that reaction. Wow. You see? So tough to trade, but so true. One more 5-minute closure below, and then this is turning into resistance. And then the entry sell limit will be at 4750. And stop loss will be at the highs. Yo, give me 1 second here. We need to wait for that 5-minute closure anyways. Yeah, look at that, guys. Look at that rejection here. Okay. Actually rejected from the very high here. So our resistance area actually is holding right now. Look at the dollar, right? That's what I meant with the dollar. These divergences are a real thing. They are a real thing on the dollar, especially when you're in a support. Okay. The dollar starts squeezing out of nowhere and the euro starts coming down out of nowhere, right? And this has an impact right now on gold. Oil is because of this also in that support as well. So you're seeing all these angles, and look at that. That's what I mean. Man. This is exactly what I wanted to see. I just didn't see the right in there. But so nice to see that analysis coming to fruition again. But man, today was very tough for me to get that. that thing that I wanted to see here. Look at that. Okay. Let's go to the lower time frame here. What do we see? On the lower time frame, we see a consolidation, manipulation, and an expansion right now. Any pullback here is still an entry for the short continuation. Question is, are we going to see that? Is this indeed the manipulation? I think it's going to be the manipulation. Yeah. Holy moly. You see that? This is what I'm saying, Red. These zones are a real thing. They are a real thing. You see that? They are a real thing. Okay? It's no joke, man, these things right there. But I have to be honest, this was a very tough situation. With all these things involved here, the NFP today, knowing that Trump is speaking, you know, very tricky. Okay, so I'm not taking this personally in any way, shape, or form. But that zone is marked out for a reason here. And the 4 hour as well, look at that, right? Insane. Any pullback could lead towards continuation play. So we're still not out of the woodworks here yet. Any pullback is still an entry, but like that was, you know, the moment right there. That break there, that closure at the 49 was actually the moment right there, right? But I hope you guys understand the process and the analysis is very important that we do this every day, because and I can guarantee you, so many people got trapped here. So many people got stuck and trapped in their lungs, I'm telling you. Absolutely. Frosty Wolf, man, welcome to the channel. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, but look at that. You know how big this move is? This is a 300 pip candle right now. And the dollar is doing exactly that. Oil as well. It's not news related. This is not news related. Okay? Don't see anything specifically coming out right now that like tells me, oh, that's the reason why. No, this is purely supply and demand. This is purely... this is a real field auction of buyers trapping a lot of people during the NFP, which is of course it creates a lot of FOMO regardless, right? We talked about this already beforehand. It creates a lot of FOMO when you see the move pushing. It invites a lot of traders to go long. Yeah. Right in that resistance. Crazy. I know many people lost their money here because this is such an impulse buy. This is what I'm saying. If you wanted to buy, we wanted to buy here. Specifically before the NFP here, but actually for another variety of reasons. Not in the breakout. Hi, something says the structure is still bullish, not shorting until it changes. Okay, but which structure right now? Because we're in high time of resistance. A lot of sellers came in here with high volume. This is why we're rejecting so hard right now. I do mean if you say, listen, we need to break down, right, aggressively, and formulating, let's say, a downtrend right there, yeah, then I get what you mean. If that's what you mean. But we're definitely in higher time for resistance here. John says, haha, okay, I'm not in any trade. This is crazy. Such huge candles. Whoa. Yeah, definitely. Lorenzo, what changes did you do to become profitable? I created a system that I follow very clearly. And sometimes I can be more aggressive, by the way. I can deviate away a little bit from the system, let's say. Sometimes, right? But the core premises, the core framework is always the same. The core framework is always the same. This is something I talked about with the guys in the chat here. Let me see if I can show you real quick. I'm not going to show everything, of course, only small things from our sessions. 1 second. There we go. We look at the higher time frame zone. The valuation, the volume profile, and the order flow confirmation equals A+ setups. They are there every day. Every day you can find at least one A+ setup throughout different sessions. At least every day I've seen A+ setups. You just need to spot them correctly. Yeah, that's just an example. 1 second. All right, little pullback. Okay, is this then what we're looking for? The 50s, number one. Most trap buyers now are stuck there. This becomes a very important level now. A very important zone in general. This area right here. So let's say the 50. And then, yeah, let's just try. Let's just try that. See if we can get hit at least. But it could be that this is the follow through here for the drop, because there are so many buyers invited to get involved here. Now let's see. And then, yeah, the 68, I say. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, let's see if it still can get there. Hopefully it can, but I'm not 100% that we'll get there. I think this could have been the manipulation for the drop. But we know that our zone is it's a serious zone. We know why. We just talked about the reason. And yeah, very interesting to watch it in real time though. Seeing these buyers getting trapped in their longs. Yeah, there we go. We might be going for it, to be honest. But yeah, our zone is definitely the area where the right shorts were played here. It's definitely important area. Look at that reaction. And look at the dollar as well. It's holding up really steadily right now. It's breaking back above the point of control. That's usually a good sign for the dollar. That means a bad sign for gold, of course, because if the dollar is bullish, it starts to push up again, it's not going to be good for gold. Yeah. Who shorted this zone, by the way? Let me know in the chat. Any shorters active? Or did you get... were you like waiting here? Any buyers at the top maybe as well in the chat? You know, be honest. It's part of the game. There's nothing wrong with it, by the way. You know. We're all here to get better. Trying to get better every day. Yeah. All right, let me see what the chat is saying, actually. Let's check. Shorted, but I booked my profits. Okay, I'm short. I got out. Got 250 pips short. Oh, shit. A lot of people shorted that zone. Wow. What time frame are we talking about traps? Yeah, 15 minutes, 5 minutes. Damn. Okay. It's impressive. That is impressive, guys. Not joking. A lot more guys shorted than I thought. I thought that more people were buying. Actually, to be honest. That's what I thought. Okay, well, there we go then. You understand the importance of this zone. I hope I was able to show you that. Targets, yeah, I mean, we could still see a pullback, don't get me wrong. We're nowhere near where it could, yeah, I mean, we have some support here too, don't get me wrong. But it was still what? It was a massive push. Massive push to the downside. Yeah. Thanks, Lorenzo. I shorted per your analysis. Okay, amazing. Well, usually I trade with you, by the way. Don't get me wrong. Okay. Yesterday we took a very aggressive long. That was a good long. But today I wanted to be a little bit more patient and stuff with the right confirmations. But yeah, you guys just took the trade because of the zone. And it played out. And I understand why, because it's a good zone. It is a good zone. It is a very good zone. Okay. Since NFP, amazing, all bears are squeezed there. I think all, yeah, well, first all the bears get squeezed, then the bulls are now the bulls are getting squeezed. That's true. The question is though, the real question is not going to be now, was this a good range? No, the question is this exactly manipulation for the push down? A much larger push down that we're going to see later on, potentially here. Trump is going to speak in in 90 minutes from now. Trump will be speaking, so the party is definitely not over yet from that perspective. Trump is going to do his thing, his absolute best to turn the markets into a yeah, what is a nice word for it? A respectful word for it. Cemetery. Yeah. 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 Overall, what do you think of the higher time frame? Yeah, right now, like I said before, we are in higher time frame resistance. All right, on gold as well as on on gold right now. Okay, we cannot neglect this higher time frame resistance we're in at the moment. You can already see the rejection here multiple times, by the way. It's right there. Okay, look at that. Straightforward resistance. People were buying into this. People were buying on a breakout, right? They're trying to break out to the upside here. Actually, we were in this supply zone. We were also in what we call the low volume node. And that's the most important level, right? The low volume node. The 15-minute high and low. So the 15-minute swing profile from the top to the bottom. Right here. Okay, from the top. That was the major zone from yesterday. And today is just a confirmation play, I would say. That's it. Sellers took control, and now the sellers are confirming they're in control. That's kind of the situation. So you could see that we had that swing. We had these low volume nodes. That's usually areas of support or resistance. You could see this one is very clean. And look at that. That was yesterday. We tapped into that. Then we had the manipulation right there. Okay. After the consolidation and then the expansion. Then we tapped into the range. Now we take the range. We use the volume profile. Again, we mark out a couple of levels in the volume profile. Right there. Okay. Let me see if I can do that. Right there. And we tapped into the very high eventually. Okay. Now we saw in the order flow that there was, let's say, a major zone of sellers right there in that candle with a lot of volume, 35,000 contracts. So we know that this is an important zone. We marked out that zone. And we said this is an area where we might find selling opportunities. And what actually is happening now, it seems to be that we created another consolidation. And this is another potential manipulation for another potential expansion. Something similar you've seen there. It's kind of the same process. And it happens over and over and over and over again. The good part is though, even when this breaks down and it would pull back, you could enter again on the continuation of it, if it's indeed bearish, right? So it depends where we do, what we do here. If we do come down, we pull back, then that could be the continuation of that push. And that could shift the trend, that could shift the structure of gold drastically. Now, oil is in support. We also take the low volume node. Oil is in support. We already talked about that. The dollar is in support too. Okay. So the dollar is showing the opposite signs. Actually, it's showing signs of accumulation here. So that's kind of the idea. And now it's breaking down, right? Well, that makes sense here. Anyways. Power Trades, I'm the OG here, but was another username. Nice to see you again. Amazing, man. Welcome. Good to see you. Anyways, guys. I think in terms of the execution of the trade and stuff, if I would have entered super aggressively again, without kind of the confirmation I was looking for, could have gotten into an amazing setup. Many of you guys took the trade regardless because the zone was so interesting. But I still think that on a day like this, NFP with Trump speaking as well, I want to see the confirmations. I know in the long term for me, I need these confirmations. Yesterday, it was fine. Yesterday, it was not really something to worry about. No news, nothing else. So we entered aggressively long yesterday, remember? Today was a bit of a different example here. I still will keep my limit at the 50s for this reason. And if you say we can't get back there, we could potentially get back there. Trust me, it's possible that we see buyers pushing back price towards the area where buyers got trapped. Now, think of it like this. You want to enter on the retest of areas where buyers got trapped. Why? Because if buyers are heavily getting trapped at the top, what tends to happen a lot is that when price pulls back, the buyers are going to exit the trades. Buyers that are buying have to sell, because in order to exit your trade, you sell. Okay, so in futures, if you buy, in order to exit, you need to get activated by what we call a sell stop or a sell limit. Okay, so you actually sell. So it creates a catalyst for sellers. The smart money sees that. They see, oh, this is an area where we see a lot of trap buyers, so I'm gonna sell too. So it's a double-edged sword. It's a double catalyst. So it becomes a very strong area of resistance. We call that the trap trader trade setup, the playbook, the trap trader playbook, okay? This is at the 50s. So in case we get back there, we might still see a rejection because of the fact that there were so many trapped buyers there that were involved in the market. So if that happens and price pulls back to it, you could potentially see that catalyst, okay? But like I said before, this could have been the move as well that could lead us towards the bottom already. It's totally possible. It is totally possible. But if that happens and the dollar keeps moving higher, okay, yeah, then pay attention to gold from a different perspective. Then look at this consolidation, this manipulation, and then this expansion for the retest. And instead of entering at the 50s, you look at the continuation from this perspective right here. You take the volume profile of the range, okay? And what you then do is you look for the breakdown, the retest, then the continuation, and you target the daily lows or the opening lows. In this case, the daily lows, for example. So there are possible continuation setups here still, okay? Don't get me wrong here. The best entry was there. The follow-up trade is still possible. It's still a realistic setup with a good risk-to-reward ratio, okay? It's still totally possible that you can get into setups like this. So here, okay? But you need to break the lows first. You need to break the lows and pull back. And close below the lows and pull back. You want to see that, okay? It has to break structure. Hope that makes sense here, okay? But that is the overall thought process right now. If you think, what is this guy talking about? It's all about the volume profile. We have a whole book created around the volume profile. You can download this book for free here. Got it right here for you, okay? It's full of information around the volume profile, and this exact pattern is exactly the pattern that played out in front of your own eyes today. Right there. But of course the opposite, the reversed chart of that, right? The top was the manipulation in this case right there. Okay? Anyways, I hope this makes sense, guys, here. It was a very, very, very tough trade to spot with the right confirmation. But if you took it aggressively, then you got a nice squeeze out of that selling zone that we marked out right there. Okay. I'm gonna see you guys next week again. Monday next week I will be 5 days streaming. Monday to Friday I will be there again. Okay. And I hope to give you every day my best work, my best analysis for you, my perspective, right there. Yeah, except for Friday. Friday I'm in Singapore next week. I have to travel to Singapore, but that's it. Monday to Thursday, sorry, I will be streaming. Okay, Friday I will be in Singapore. I will be traveling. Okay, I have some things to do. Oh, that makes sense right there. Okay, I want to wish you a fantastic weekend here. Treat the market well. Keep in mind that Trump is speaking in 90 minutes. So I want you to be more cautious right now as well here. I hope you learned something about how buyers can get squeezed out of their trades, out of the market quite aggressively when things turn over, right? No more FOMO. It's the lesson right there, okay? Okay, cool, guys. I appreciate you all. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week again. And yeah, what we do on those streams is we trade live, we execute, we learn. I'll give you guys all the insights around the volume profile. I'll put in my best work every day for you to give you the best possible analysis on gold, and we go from there. Okay? Perfect. Where's that sound I was looking for? Okay. Much love, have a great weekend, yeah? You guys are amazing. Take care. Much love, fam. See you later. Ciao.